Hello again, folks. In the last video, I showed you guys how to put an estimate together and then send it via email. In this video, I'm going to be showing you a little bit how to respond to the emails that you're getting back. You're going to get a few different types of emails from clients. They're going to vary kind of across the board, but they tend to show up in a particular format over and over again. So I'm going to run you through some very typical emails that I get back from clients. So this first one is a typical response of what I get back from sending the estimate. And your clients are going to vary, all over the board as far as their etiquette with their own emails. The important piece is to not match their etiquette. You want to maintain your level of professionalism regardless of how kind of personal or off the cuff they may be in their emails. Because a lot of people that I've learned recently, this has kind of been a fad that's increased over the last, I'd say, 5 years. A lot of people will tend to use email like text messages. So they just send you quick little blurps back from their iPhone, and you can kind of tell. So this is a very typical email. So the last email I sent in the previous video was the estimate and sending the client the estimate. Now this is the email I got back. It said, "This is it. Looks great, Bob." So that happens all the time, which is, what I would take from this email is that he saw the quote, opened it up, agreed to it, and now he just wants to move forward. So then my response email is, let's see here. Actually, that's a new one I'm going to show you guys a little bit later. All right, so this is my response to Bob. It says, "Hi, Bob. Thanks for the response. I'll get you on the schedule and get back to you within the week with a specific start date. Have a great weekend, Jeremy." And again, that's my standard format that I use in all kinds of emails, and it's still very professional. It's personal, and then he knows that I have seen his acceptance of the quote and I got back to him. That's a big deal. Where you really want to make sure that the client is not in the dark and they know that you saw their response. If you're going to err on the side of caution, I would just really recommend almost over communicating with your client. The less in the dark they are, the more comfortable they're going to feel, and you're eliminating a lot of uncertainty. Contractors tend to get in trouble where they're not contacting their clients back quickly enough, and particularly in this day and age, how it's very speedy to communicate back and forth via text message, email, phone number. There's not really an excuse for not getting back to someone in a reasonable time frame. Usually, we try and stay within a 24-hour window. Sometimes that's not feasible, so maybe like 24 to 48 hours. But you just want to make sure that they know that you got their message. So it doesn't have to be a super long email back or response, whatever it may be. So that's my typical acceptance. They emailed me back. They are comfortable with the quote. Sometimes if they accept the bid, they're going to then ask you a series of questions, and then you want to respond to those questions, take each one, kind of segment it out so that it's kind of like bullet pointed in your email back. Actually, while we were filming this, I got an email from one of my former clients, and she had a question, and I'll read it to you guys right now. It's on the screen. So it says, "Hi, Jeremy. I have a couple questions for you. You painted our basement about 5 years ago. We finished off the ceiling, and the workers spackled and made a big mess of the walls. So do the walls all have to be repainted, or can they be touched up?" So this is kind of a little bit of a nebulous question. Like I can't really tell what exactly happened from the email. This is something that I would have to go and take a look at in person to actually be able to answer her question effectively. So you can see this is the email that I sent back to her, and I send this back actually in between takes of shooting this video. So I said, "Hi, Sharon, thanks for the email. ! I'd have to come out and take a look in order to give you an accurate answer. I could come out this Thursday or Friday at 8:30 a.m. Let me know if this works for you. Feel free to call or text me in order to schedule a time. Have a great weekend, Jeremy." And then again, it has my signature at the bottom with the phone number. And obviously I gave her my real phone number, not the fake one that I have out for you guys. But The little line where it says feel free to call or text me in order to schedule a time is super handy, because you're establishing a kind of best practices for how you want to be contacted. A lot of times they'll keep emailing you because that's how you initially contacted them via the estimate, but sometimes it's actually easier if they do text you, and way more people are texting now than before, and it can save you some time because they come to your phone right away. You can hit them back with a real quick message, and it keeps everybody in the loop. I would just say that it can become a little bit invasive if they keep texting you off hours. So that is more on you as far as how reachable you want to be and how you would prefer to be contacted. Sometimes you just keep it via email or a phone call. Also with scheduling, I found that it can be a pain in the butt going back and forth with email, because if they say 8:30 doesn't work, how about Tuesday? And you're like, well, that doesn't work for me. A lot of times you can just make a quick phone call, hammer it out, and that way it's not so much back and forth, and it will end up saving you a lot of time in the long run. So that is our standard, or at least my standard format for responding to emails, whether it be an acceptance of a bid, a scheduling email, or just like I just showed you guys now, just a client with a question. And very likely what's going to happen is I will schedule a time next week to go out and do this. This technically isn't even an estimate. It's just me going and taking a look and seeing what my recommendations are. It sounds like they had I believe they had a drop ceiling here, and they had that pulled out and then had it drywalled, which probably means the drywallers got a lot of spackle everywhere. So I'm going to see if I have to, do a whole other estimate, what work needs to be done, and then I'll answer all of her questions when I'm actually on site and can see it. So that's kind of what's going to happen, and hopefully that was very helpful for you guys. So now you know how to respond to emails, and just be kind. Be kind, be patient, and one last thing before we move on to the next video. Don't assume malice where busyness or life could just be on the other end. Some people come off really gruff in their emails, or terse would be another word, where they're just responding. They don't put any smiley faces or exclamation points, so they can sound really pissed off when in fact it's not the tone they really intended. Email and texts are not a really good way to gauge someone's emotions. Usually phone calls or in person, you can get a better read on somebody. So just don't attribute malice where just busyness could be a part of that instead. So that's what's up, and I will see you guys in the next video.